I've come to Blackburn today to see Craig Murray. His campaign offices are behind me because he's running to be MP for this constituency, and as you can see by the flags, he's running solely on the Gaza genocide and against the UK's role and support of it. It's a heavily Muslim area up here, so feeling on this situation and the genocide in Gaza is really high, as it is up and down the country, not just in Muslim or heavily Muslim constituencies. And it seems that there's shenanigans at play in order to stop Craig from being elected. Let Craig tell you what's gone on.
Yeah, it's really been very, very difficult. Effectively, the people who called me here to be the candidate then stabbed me in the back, and having adopted me as a candidate, decided they wanted to put up a mate of theirs instead, and that's really made it very hard. I'll run through what happened for you. Okay. On the 17th of March, I was living in Greece. I flew into Manchester, went to Rochdale, to George Galloway's headquarters shortly after he'd won the Rochdale by-election. And there I met with one of the independent councillors who'd left the Labour Party here in Blackburn, with George, and with a representative of Muslim Vote. And they said they wanted me to be the candidate here in Blackburn. I said, do you have a local candidate? Because a local candidate might be better. They said, no, we want you. We remember you when you stood against Jack Straw. You're the best qualified guy. You come and fight Blackburn. And they discussed whether the independents would join the Workers' Party before or after the election. I was there for that discussion, before or after the local election. I then went back to Greece. I flew back again for a big meeting at Bangor Street Community Centre on the 13th of April, which was to launch the Blackburn Independence campaign for the local elections. And you can see the poster for that meeting has George Galloway on it, it's got me on it, and it's got the Blackburn Independence logo on it. And again, I flew in from Greece to Manchester Airport. I arrived at Blackburn railway station, and I was met at Blackburn railway station by Mustafa Desai, the leader of the Blackburn Independence group, who picked up my suitcase, put me in his car, drove me in his car to the meeting venue, and on the way discussed the prospects for the election with me. And I was announced as a candidate, parliamentary candidate. I made a speech in which I said I'm delighted to have been selected by the Blackburn Independents and the Workers' Party to stand for Blackburn.
It's wonderful to be back here in Blackburn, and I am deeply honoured to have been asked to stand for Parliament again here in Blackburn and Darwin, to have been asked by Blackburn's independent candidates, councillors, to be asked by the Workers' Party of Great Britain, and we are going to give it one hell of a run at getting elected here in Blackburn.
All of the Blackburn independents were there in their green tops, all of them. They all applauded like mad at the end of my speech. But every single one of them shook my hand and said I was a candidate. And we announced it. It was in the newspaper, and they put it out as well on social media. Then subsequently, suddenly, they started saying that they needed to do some kind of selection process. And this is after I'd been announced, after I'd announced my candidacy, after I'd started a fundraiser to which hundreds of people had contributed small amounts for me to stand for election. And I sent them a message saying, what are you doing? I've already announced I am the candidate. And they replied saying, there is no doubt about your candidacy. Then they called me to come down for a meeting, and I discovered that they were considering having this guy Adnan as their candidate instead, after they'd adopted me. This was absolutely crazy. I met with Adnan, I had a coffee with him privately. I said to him, well, let's resolve this. Let's have a public meeting. Anyone can come. You speak, I speak. At the end of the day, we'll take a vote of the public and see who will be the candidate. You know, the loser can stand down. I was perfectly happy to do that. That's democracy. But instead, the councillors who'd already adopted me decided to have a selection meeting and then announced that Adnan was adopted as the candidate. And I mean, this was extraordinary. But what was even more extraordinary is that they lied through their teeth. They put out statements claiming the Bangor Street meeting had never happened, claiming there had never been a meeting with the Workers' Party. And I can't deal with this. I'm not used to people who just lie through their teeth, you know, utterly dishonest charlatans, and that's what these people are, unfortunately.
That's exactly what we're trying to get rid of as well in the House of Commons. We're trying to get rid of people who say one thing and then do another. And here we are in Blackburn, and obviously this is key because this might split the vote on, you know, there's a high majority Muslim constituency up here, and if you're going to split that vote, who benefits from that?
Do you know, I've never known anything like this in my life. I'm not used to dealing with people who go back completely on their word. And not only that, they go back completely on their word and then they claim things didn't happen, which plainly did happen, and are the cause of this happening on video, on social media messages, and even in the local newspaper. It's very hard to work with such people, and it's really made the election here harder work than we expected. But I refuse to believe that that kind of cheating will prosper. You know, I refuse to believe that those who've done it will benefit by it, and I do think people will understand that what they need is honest representation that gets rid of the kind of corrupt practices that we've seen in British politics, the kind of corruption that has seen the Zionist lobby and the Friends of Israel dominate the Conservative and Labour parties, and we'll go for honesty and a new start. And the only way you're going to get that in Blackburn is by voting for me.